What's going on, guys? Today I'm back with another hat format replay review for you guys. If you're interested in sending in your hat format replays, you can go down to the video description and find all the information on how to go about sending those in. Anyways, the match I have for you today, we have Avenger Bagnarol, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, who's going to be on sort of like a Fire King, Fire Fist pile deck, versus Geargia, who is going to be on sort of like a Hazy Flame Hands pile deck. It's kind of hard to explain what these decks are without actually seeing them, but anyways, it should be a really good match, so you're definitely going to want to stick around, so let's get straight into it. So here, it looks like Geargia is going to be starting this one out. Opening hands, we see Skullmeister, Soul Charge, Bear, Rekindling, and Warning. And on the other side, we see Hazy Flame, Hydra, Soul Charge, Compulse, Firehand, and Wiretap. And here, Geargia will get to draw for turn, getting a copy of Hazy Glory. I'll quickly go over some of the cards that I actually haven't shown off on the channel too much. So here we have Hazy Flame Hydra. I guess a quick note for the Hazy Flames is they're all unaffected, or your opponent can't target this card with card effects. All of the Hazy Flame monsters, I'm pretty sure, have that line of text. So just keep that in mind. So anyways, Hydra says your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. You cannot special summon monsters except fire monsters. An Xyz monster that was Xyz summoned using this card as an Xyz material gains this effect. When it is Xyz summoned, you can target one Hazy Flame monster in your graveyard, attach that target to this card as an Xyz material. So very good card when you're going into Basilitrice, which is the big Xyz monster. And then Hazy Glory here says you can normal summon Hazy Flame monsters for one less tribute. It's a continuous trap card. You can send this face-up card from the field to the graveyard, target one Hazy card in your graveyard except Hazy Glory, add that target to your hand. So a very, very good card given, you know, the Hazy Flames are all level 6s. But anyways, getting into this game, here we're going to see a set Firehand and 3 back row over to Avenger, who gets a copy of Circle of the Fire Kings. From here, they're going to summon the copy of Bear and attack into that Firehand, which is going to be able to... because Skullmeister... Okay, this is something that people always like to comment on my videos, but during hat format, Skullmeister can activate in the damage step. So here we're going to see Avenger activating the Skullmeister in damage step after destroying the Firehand, so that the Firehand won't be able to float here. And Geargia says it's good, goes main phase 2 and sets some back row. Back over to Geargia, but it looks like in the end phase, Hazy Glory is going to be activated, and then they draw into a copy of Wiretap. So from here, they're going to be able, because of the Hazy Glory, to just normal summon the Hydra without tribute, and they're just going to go to battle phase and run over the Bear here, setting another back row and back over to Avenger, who gets a copy of Yaksha. And let's see what they do here. Here, they're just going to set it and back over to Geargia, who gets another copy of Hydra. And they're just going to normal summon it, again, without tribute because of Glory, go battle phase, and swing in for some good damage. Those do have quite a lot of attack. Back over to Avenger, who gets a copy of Compulse. And here, they're going to go Soul Charge, bringing back Yaksha, Bear, and the Skullmeister. I'm going to quickly see real quick. Yaksha is if this card's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can destroy one. Okay, so unfortunately they didn't have like one of the big chickens or just another Fire King to be able to destroy with that effect. But Yaksha is one of the cool ones that actually can get its effect when destroyed by battle. So kind of cool there. But anyways, getting down to 2,000 life points, let's see what they can actually do with this. Here they're going to overlay for an H.A.T, and they're definitely lower on cards. We see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, but what is this back row again? So we do add a Compulse. So I guess even the Compulse wasn't really going to do anything there, unfortunately, because they brought back 3. So here they're going to use the H.A.T, and it looks like Compulse is going to be chained to that to at least get the body off of board, but everything else is going to leave here, and it looks like they're just going to then set a Compulse of their own, and over to Geargia, who gets a copy of Flamevell Firedog. I don't think I've even shown this off on the channel. This was more of, I think, like an Edison card, if I remember correctly. And it says when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, You can special summon one fire monster with 200 or less defense from your deck, except Flamebell Fire Dog. A really cool card. You can make really nice Xyz and Synchro plays in a lot of cases with that. But anyways, Geargia does have the copy of Soul Charge and is at full life still. So let's see what they do. Here they're going to go Battle Phase. After summoning the Fire Dog just to do some damage. Here Avenger gets a copy of Onslaught, which is very strong, going to be able to activate that and get the Garunix out of deck and go to battle phase and just run over that Fire Dog during the end phase. The Garunix is going to get destroyed via the effect of Onslaught over to Geargia, who now gets a copy of Hazy Flame Cerberus, which says you can normal summon this card without tributing, but its original attack becomes 1,000. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, as I mentioned before, and when this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can add a Hazy Flame card from your deck to your hand. Really cool card. It's a way to search out, Pillar, which is one of their spell cards, which is really strong, or just Periton, I believe is the name, which is like one of their really good monsters. But anyways, here it looks like in the standby phase, the Garunix is going to special summon back. And Geargia is going to take a second to think. They are going to use that Soul Charge now, bringing back Hydra, and Firehand. Oh, and Fire Dog. So they're going for a very big Soul Charge play of their own. Here they're going to overlay for a copy of 101, though I think this Compulse might be activated potentially, which it is. So here it looks like Geargia is going to use the normal summon ability from Cerberus to be able to summon it without tributing. And then they are going to overlay for Hazy Flame Basilitrice. So this is the Xyz I was referring to, and it needs 2 or more max 5 level 6 fire monsters. And once per turn, you can detach an Xyz material from this card to target a monster your opponent controls or in their graveyard. Banish that target. This card gains effects based on the number of Xyz material attached to it. So if it's 3 or more, this card gains 200 attack and defense for each Xyz material attached to it. 4 or more, this card cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects. And 5, this card cannot be destroyed by card effects. So a very strong card, really cool, and, always great artwork on that one. But anyways, let's see here. Here, the Basilitrice is going to activate, and it had 2 materials, but it's irrelevant. They're using the first effect to target a monster your opponent controls or in their graveyard and banish it. So attempting to banish the Garunix here, and over to Avenger, who gets another copy of Onslaught. That's a pretty good draw here. And they're just having a little back and forth conversation here. It looks like about the attack of it because of the materials, because it doesn't have 3 or more. It's not gaining that attack boost. But anyways, here the other Onslaught is going to come down, summoning another copy of Garunix here, going to battle phase and running over this Basilitrice. And then it looks like setting the Rekindling, which, do they even have targets in here? They have the one Yaksha, and that is it. Okay, so it makes sense why they're not even using that here. But anyways, back over to Geargia, who gets a copy of MST, and it looks like they're going to activate the MST right away just to hit the set, hitting the Rekindling, but then the Garunix is going to special summon back because it was destroyed in the end phase. Here, the Cerberus is going to be able to be activated because it was, when this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can add a Hazy Flame card. So it was destroyed, so they're going to be able to add one here, and they're going to add another copy of Cerberus, because it doesn't say you can't add another one. So here they're just going to normal summon it, and actually, let me see here real quick. They normal summon this card. Okay, so they had to normal it. They can't just set it. Anyways, here it looks like another copy of Soul Charge is drawn, and Avenger's just going to go to battle phase and run over the Cerberus. Here, Cerberus will now search a copy of Periton, which is the one I was referring to. This one says cannot be special summoned except by a Hazy Flame monster's effect. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. You can send 1 fire monster from your hand to the graveyard and tribute this card. Special summon 2 Hazy Flame monsters from your deck. You can only use the effect of Hazy Flame Periton once per turn. So very, very good card. Obviously, it tributes itself, and you have to send a fire monster from hand, but being able to special 2 Hazy Flame monsters from deck is very, very good. And Avenger is only on 100 life here, so setting the Soul Charge as a bluff, and over to Geargia, who gets another copy of Periton, and it looks like Geargia is just going to scoop that one up. Unfortunately, couldn't round out what they had. So moving on to a game number 2, that was a very back and forth game, and really I didn't know who was going to take that one. At first I thought Geargia was, but then Avenger was able to come back with those draws. So anyways, moving on into game number 2, opening hands, we see Tensu, Garunix, Blackhorn of Heaven, Bottomless, and Max C. And on the other side, we see Rekindling, Soul Charge, Compulse, Hazy Flame Cerberus, and Hazy Flame Hydra, and Geargia will get to draw for turn here. Getting a copy of Solemn Warning is a very strong draw. So let's actually see what they end up doing here. Here they're going to start by summoning that copy of Cerberus and setting the Compulse and Warning and just passing it over to Avenger, who now gets a copy of Circle of the Fire Kings. They are going to just set 3. Unfortunately, they don't really have a starter here. So passing it straight back over to Geargia, who gets a copy of Fire Hand, which they're going to normal summon, and that is going to get met with Bottomless, so making sure that that Fire Hand isn't in rotation to start floating or anything, going to battle phase and just attacking in for 1,000 with the copy of Cerberus. Here, Avenger gets a copy of Dark Hole, but that's not really good. You don't really want to be blowing these up because you don't want to be giving, any sort of search ability. So here they're holding the Dark Hole. Again, also they'd rather their opponent kind of extend out a little further. Plus they have the Max C if need be. So even if the opponent starts getting out of control with summons or something, they can kind of control it. Anyways, Geargia gets a copy of Breakthrough Skill for draw, sets it, goes battle phase. Always weird why people set before going to battle phase sometimes, especially in a situation where like this, where it's kind of irrelevant. So I guess it really doesn't matter. But anyways, attacking in for 1,000 damage, and then passing it over. Here, Avenger gets a copy of Mind Control. Okay, but again, can't really do much with it, so they're just going to set 1 over to Geargia, who now gets a copy of that Hazy Glory, which is very good with that Hydra. Going to battle phase, just doing a lot of small chip damage, setting that Glory, and passing it over to Avenger, who gets a Flamevell Fire Dog of their own. So they are going to be able to normal summon that, and Geargia lets it go through, and here they're thinking they are going to compulse the Fire Dog. Obviously, they don't want Avenger here getting a summon off of this, because obviously their hand isn't great here, even though I'm sure they wouldn't really mind in this situation. But here, Hazy Glory is going to be activated in the end phase, drawing a copy of Debunk for turn, and then here the Hydra is able to be normal summoned, again because of the Glory, so no tribute needed, and going to battle phase for a lot of damage. This might honestly be a very quick game number 2, setting that Debunk back over to Avenger, but of course Avenger is going to get a copy of Onslaught here. So that's a great draw, but oh, the Warning is going to be able to negate that. So not looking too good. They might have to use the Dark Hole here. But let me just double check these again. Your opponent cannot target. Okay, so obviously Dark Hole would be the out here. But here we are going to see Avenger summon the Fire Dog and go to battle phase and run over the Cerberus, or try to. But here the Breakthrough is going to be able to be activated to negate the Fire Dog effect, so they won't get, that summon. And here the Cerberus is going to be destroyed, and allowing Geargia to get a copy of Periton. And let me just see something real quick. Is this a when effect? I'm just curious when this card is destroyed in something graveyard. So in theory, there are ways to make these miss timing. But anyways, here Avenger's going to think in main phase 2 and set 1. And Geargia gets a copy of Hazy Flame Hydra. Okay, so they do have big beaters, but here it looks like they are going to summon without tribute the Periton. And Avenger's going to think here, and they're going to use the effect, discarding the Hydra. And they're going to go to summon 2, but the Max C is going to be chained to that. So here Cerberus and Hydra are going to be summoned off of that. And Avenger will get a copy of Fire Dog as the draw, going to battle phase and just swinging over lots of damage there. So moving on into a game number 3, these have honestly been really good games so far. Here, though, again, Avenger is going to start this one out. Opening hands, we see Soul Charge, Gorilla, Leopard, Tensu, and Yaksha. And on the other side, we see Hazy Flame Periton, Cerberus, Wiretap, Bottomless, and Debunk. And here, Avenger draws a copy of Blackhorn, which didn't they have that last game and it just didn't really do much? Anyways, normal summoning the Leopard, tributing it off to get a copy of Tenki adding a copy of Wolfbark, and then setting the Blackhorn over to Geargia, who gets a copy of Lance. They're going to normal summon the Cerberus and do some damage here. So again, just really chipping away with these Hazy Flame monsters with that, Cerberus being such a good card, given you don't even have to tribute for it, though it is a little weak, but being a searcher, you don't really care if it's destroyed. And then here it looks like they are going to set 4 back row, okay? And Overdue Avenger, who right on time gets a copy of Onslaught. And here comes the big chicken, the Garunix. And it looks like Bottomless is going to be able to be activated here. And, you know, unfortunately, that is going to get rid of the Garunix. So, you know, that pressure isn't really going to help here. But the Tensu is now going to be able to be activated, summoning Gorilla. And then Gorilla is going to use its ability, sending the Tenki to pop a back row. So playing through a bit of this back row, hitting the debunk, okay, that was a good card to hit. Though I guess the Garunix was already out of rotation there. And next, the additional normal of the Yaksha, or maybe that's their normal. And so here it looks like they're going to go to battle phase. Gorilla is going to attempt to go over the Cerberus. And, but in damage step, the Lance is going to come down. So it would have been nice for them to be able to get the set of a fire formation off of that attack. But unfortunately, the Cerberus will have just a little more attack than the Gorilla there. And so now they're going to think, do they run it over? They are. They're going to attack over the Cerberus with the Yaksha. Here, the Cerberus can then add a copy of Pillar. So this is the spell card I was referring to. It says you can normal summon Hazy Flame monsters for 1 less tribute, so kind of like Glory. But this one has the other ability that once per turn, you can target an Xyz monster you control, attach 1 Hazy Flame monster from your hand or side of the field to that Xyz monster as Xyz material. So it allows your big Hazy Flame to get even bigger and, you know, gain all those additional effects. And here it looks like Avenger's just going to pass. And honestly, they don't seem like they're in that bad of a position anymore, because now Yugia's cards are kind of low to the ground in a sense. You're getting a copy of Debunk though, and it looks like they're going to set 1 and just pass. So Avenger can start taking over now, summoning the copy of Wolfbark using the effect to bring back the Gorilla. Next, they're going to overlay into a copy of Tiger King, which is going to allow them to set a Tenki, activate the Tenki, and get a bear. And they will have an additional normal if they wanted it, but choosing not to overextend in case there's a torrential or something, which would hurt pretty bad, honestly, in this situation. Going to battle phase and attacking for quite a lot of damage. So now Yugia is really going to need something here. And it looks like main phase 2, they just set 1. Yugia draws a copy of Lance, and it's not looking good. They're going to activate Pillar, summon the Periton, and go to battle phase, attacking into the Tiger King. And then Lance in the damage step, trying to out the Tiger King, which they are able to do. And then here, Avenger is going to get a copy of Skullmeister. Coach Soldier Wolfbark is going to be able to be activated. I think a lot of people forget that this is just a once per turn type effect. It's not like an on normal summon type effect. So here the Wolfbark is going to bring back the Gorilla here. And they're going to take a second to think. And they're going to additional summon the copy of Bear, go for Daigusto Emerald, and use the ability, shuffling back Leopard, Tiger King, and Gorilla. And getting a copy of Breakthrough Skill, going to battle phase and attacking over the Periton, attacking in with the Wolfbark. And let's see what they do. They're not going to set the Breakthrough Skill. So, I guess they have the Black Horn of Heaven in case an Exciton play were to occur or something. But here Yugia gets a copy of Debunk, so this might honestly just be game. And it is. So Avenger ends up winning that one. Honestly, this was a really good game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like on this video, comment any questions or videos you want to see in the future, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified anytime I put a new video out, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to go down to the video description to find out how you can send in your hat format replays. But anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video.